and because we are running out of time, I only have one question for all the panelists, okay? So we are here to think big in biotechnology, not just incrementally. So my question to all the speakers is, how far are we from acting big? In particular in Portugal and Europe, what do we need? Is it talent, other type of resources, entrepreneurial leaders such as Bezos and Musk? Is it legislation? Is Portugal ready to become famous for being the best place in the world to invest in biotech? For instance, Israel is famous for security and cybersecurity solutions. I'm curious about your answers, so over to you. Who wants to start? Daniela?
Okay, so it's really hard for me to give you a feedback because I actually just arrived to our ecosystem, so the Portuguese ecosystem. So I will just tell you the first impressions that we got. From a public point of view, it's really, so what can stimulate us? In Italy, we really had the support from the public, from public institutions, but also from the European institutions that were always trying to put into contact with the target end users or potential contacts that could stimulate the translation to the market. And in here, I don't feel it from the public point of view, but I feel that the private institutions are always open to really support you and to kind of guide you what is the path that you should do. I don't think that we have a problem on limiting our entrepreneurs to become new unicorns. I think that Portugal already has some examples, but I think that maybe we should have a straightforward contact with these unicorns in order to learn what should be done and what should not be repeated. So what should we do to become the next step?
Thank you very much. Luis, what's your point of view? Or Pedro, Antonio, Joana?
Yeah,
I can jump in. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
I just want to give a quick note. So I'm naturally and by nature an optimist. I believe that a lot has been done to put Portugal in the biggest stage in the last few years, and I believe that we're seeing a lot of external companies moving to Porto, to Lisbon, to Portugal as a whole, because we have a really vibrant ecosystem. And of course, initiatives like Web Summit and others have been helping bring Portugal to the world stage. We have a lot of Silicon Valley partners, and more moving to Porto is actually, or moving to Portugal as a whole, is a very good choice and is seen as a very smart choice. We are maybe still not the Silicon Valley of Europe, but I like to think that we are on our way there. Maybe not halfway there, but on our way there.
Very good. Very good. Without a filter, hashtag no filter. Be brutally honest about what you think.
Okay. So I was about to say something similar about, bringing people around, but I'll like to take it from another perspective, which is I think it's very important that the academia and the market are working closer together, because we see so many examples of good human resources that are investigating in a silo for their whole lives. And I think with such harsh regulations that are being now, especially in the medical field, being released by the European Commission, and the difficulties that Portugal has on having technology that brings added value, like other countries have, for example, IT or other types of services and products, it's much more important that we open the academia eyes to how the market and how the companies are acting, and bringing our talents earlier into what's being done out there, so we can leverage not only their attitude, but also gain time and educate in a sense of creating output, and not just investigating this or that. So generically, the message that I think it's missing is that we need to really work together in all dimensions, and have a unique strategy for innovation, and not simply distribute some funds that come from Europe to this or that company that is able to apply properly.
Joanna, what about you? 12 degrees in Glasgow. Come to Lisbon and invest in biotechnology.
Yes, I mean, like a bit like Daniela, I'm a bit out of the ecosystem in Portugal. So I left around 9 years ago, but my impression is actually the same thing that Pedro was saying at the time, at least, and apparently since he is a much recent alumni than me, I think there was a big gap between academia and even not academia itself, but even research institutes and the market needs and the way the market is evolving. So, for example, in your nutrition business, I've worked with different, even governmental institutions and research institutes from all over the world, from the Netherlands to New Zealand to US to France, and their aim is always to invest smartly. So, to understand the market, to understand the needs, to understand if the technology, if the product will be actually something that can be implemented and successful in the marketplace. Whereas in Portugal, I have the impression there's a bit of a alignment here with the way, like Pedro was saying, the money is invested and its future applications. So that is my impression. And I think even if it's no longer the case that it happens so in so many places now, which I believe it doesn't, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on for the future. And why not use as a reference these other institutes or these other markets that are kind of doing things differently, and look at how they are doing and developing, for example, an innovation hub or something targeting different industries within the biotechnology segment to provide this guidance, this support, and this inspiration that you can get from other examples, and in the future maybe be one of those examples.
One final comment?
Yeah, Hugo. I think in the IT sector we can see it. We are on this path here in Oporto. We have large companies that come to here and develop their. They became from other geographies, and they are here, and they implement. They are with more than 1,000 people, and they are developing maybe many technologies that we have in cars and apps and so on, because they were big companies like BMW and other ones. I'm talking about Oporto because I know better the reality, but in Lisbon also. But we are talking about IT companies. I think biotech in the biotech companies, I think if we don't have the bigger companies to come here and see that we have the knowledge here, we can develop some we can innovate with them. I see it with some. Maybe it can be difficult to create a cluster here in Portugal or in Porto, a cluster of biotechnology. Talking about a cluster. A big cluster, like you said, about security in Israel. I think it will be difficult without the greatest companies or the greater companies. If they don't come here, I think it will be difficult. Talking about Portugal, in an European level, I think maybe yes.
So as usual, we have a few positive comments that we are making progress. We have summit and all of that, but we are still missing something, which is always normal, in particular for innovative people like us. We demand always a bit more. And just a curiosity, I was tweeting about the event, and the head of innovation for Airbus just said that they are investing a lot in biotechnology, in particular for the project Green Cabin and Airbus Wings. So if you guys want to reach out, his name is Christian Lindner, and he's looking for probably people in projects like you. So I think I need to say goodbye and thank you for inviting me to be here. And over to you, Hugo.